The silent watchers, the Discovery Captain Elena Vasquez, stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Defiant, her dark eyes scanning the star charts displayed on the main screen. The ship hummed quietly as it moved through the void between solar systems, conducting what should have been a routine patrol along the outer rim of human space. Elena was a veteran officer with 15 years of service, known throughout the fleet for her unwavering moral compass and her ability to make tough decisions under pressure. The Defiant was not the largest ship in the Earth Defense Force, but it was one of the most advanced. Its crew of 200 represented the best that humanity had to offer, each person carefully selected for their skills and dedication. Elena had commanded the ship for 3 years, and in that time they had rescued stranded colonists, fought off pirate raids, and even participated in a few diplomatic missions with alien species. Dr. Marcus Chun, the ship's xenobiologist, approached Elena with a concerned expression on his face. Marcus was a brilliant scientist who had devoted his life to understanding alien life forms. His expertise had proven invaluable during humanity's first contacts with various species across the galaxy. Captain, we're receiving some unusual readings from the Kepler 438 system, Marcus said, handing her a datapad. Long-range sensors are picking up massive gravitational disturbances. Elena studied the information displayed on the screen. The Kepler 438 system was located about 40 light-years from Earth and was home to a species called Zephyrians. According to the Galactic Council's records, the Zephyrians were a peaceful, artistic civilization that had just begun to develop space travel technology. What kind of disturbances? Elena asked, her brow furrowing with concern. It appears to be a large asteroid, roughly 10 kilometers in diameter, on a direct collision course with Kepler 438b, Marcus replied. At its current trajectory and speed, impact will occur in approximately 72 hours. Elena felt her stomach drop. An asteroid of that size would be catastrophic. It would trigger massive earthquakes, tsunamis, and throw so much debris into the atmosphere that it would block out the sun for years. The Zephyrians, still in their early technological age, would have no way to defend themselves against such a disaster. The Galactic Law Lieutenant Sarah Torres, the ship's tactical officer, looked up from her console. Sarah was young but highly skilled, with an impressive record of service despite her age. She had earned her position through dedication and natural talent for strategic thinking. Captain, there's something else you should know, Sarah said, her voice hesitant. The Kepler 438 system is protected under Galactic Council Resolution 2847. Elena's heart sank. Resolution 2847 was part of the Galactic Preservation Protocol, one of the most strictly enforced laws in the galaxy. It stated that no advanced civilization could interfere with the natural development of primitive species. The law was designed to prevent powerful alien races from conquering or manipulating weaker ones, but it also meant that advanced civilizations were forbidden from helping primitive species, even in cases of natural disasters. Commander James Wright, Elena's first officer, appeared at her side. James was a calm, steady presence who had served alongside Elena for 5 years. He was known for his logical approach to problems and his deep understanding of galactic politics. Captain, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Galactic Council, James reported. Elena nodded grimly. She had expected this. The Council monitored all space traffic and would have detected the Defiant's approach to the restricted system. The main screen flickered to life, showing the image of Counselor Vextar, a tall, crystalline being who served as the head of the Galactic Preservation Committee. His voice resonated through the bridge's speakers with an otherworldly quality. Captain Vasquez of the Earth vessel Defiant, you are approaching a restricted system. Under the authority of Resolution 2847, you are ordered to maintain your current course and avoid any contact with the Kepler 438 system. Elena stepped forward, her jaw set with determination. Counselor Vextar, we are aware of a massive asteroid about to impact the inhabited planet in this system. Surely the preservation protocol doesn't apply to natural disasters that threaten to wipe out an entire species. The crystalline being's expression remained unchanged. Captain, the preservation protocol exists for a reason. Natural selection is the driving force of evolution throughout the galaxy. If a species cannot survive the challenges presented by their environment, then they are not meant to continue. This is the natural order. Natural order? Elena couldn't keep the anger out of her voice. We're talking about the extinction of an entire civilization. 200 million sentient beings who have done nothing wrong except exist in the wrong place at the wrong time. The law is clear, Captain, Vextar replied coldly. No interference. Any attempt to contact or assist the Zephyrians will result in severe consequences for both you and the human species as a whole. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Elena stared at the empty screen, her mind racing. She had sworn an oath to protect innocent life, but now she was being ordered to stand by and watch as an entire species faced extinction. The moral dilemma DR. Chun broke the silence first. Captain, I've been studying the Zephyrians for years. They're a remarkable species. They have developed incredible art, music, and literature. Their society is based on cooperation and mutual respect. They've never even had a major war in their recorded history. Elena turned to face her crew. These were good people, men and women who had dedicated their lives to protecting others. She could see the conflict in their eyes, the same struggle she was feeling. What are our options? She asked. Lieutenant Torres consulted her tactical display. The asteroid is too large to destroy with our weapons, but we might be able to alter its trajectory if we hit it at the right angle. We'd need to act quickly. Though, the closer it gets to the planet, the more energy it will take to deflect it. Commander Wright looked troubled. Captain, if we intervene, we'll be violating one of the most fundamental laws in the galaxy. The consequences could be severe. Earth could face economic sanctions, trade embargoes, even military action. Elena nodded. She understood the risks. Humanity was still relatively new to galactic politics, having only made contact with alien civilizations 50 years ago. They had worked hard to build relationships and establish trade agreements with other species. A violation of the preservation protocol could undo decades of diplomatic progress. What about the Zephyrians themselves? Elena asked. Do they know what's coming? Dr. Chun checked his instruments. Their astronomical technology is limited, but they've detected the asteroid. We are receiving radio transmissions from the planet. They're trying to organize evacuation efforts, but with their current technology, they can only move a small fraction of their population to safety. Elena closed her eyes, imagining the panic and desperation that must be spreading across the Zephyrian homeworld. Families saying goodbye to each other, children who would never grow up, artists whose creations would be lost forever. The weight of command. Bridge fell silent as everyone waited for Elena's decision. She had faced difficult choices before, but never one with such far-reaching consequences. The fate of an entire species rested in her hands, and whatever she decided would define not just her own future, but humanity's place in the galaxy. Elena thought about her daughter, Maria, safe at home on Earth. What kind of galaxy did she want Maria to inherit? One where advanced civilizations stood by and watched as the weak perished, or one where beings with the power to help chose to use that power, regardless of the consequences. She thought about the oath she had taken when she first put on the uniform of the Earth Defense Force, to protect innocent life, to stand against injustice, to do what was right, even when it was difficult. The Galactic Council could make their laws, but they couldn't change what was fundamentally right and wrong. "Captain," Commander Wright said softly, "whatever you decide, we're with you." Elena looked around at her crew, seeing the same determination in their faces that she felt in her heart. These people had volunteered to serve, knowing that they might one day be called upon to make the ultimate sacrifice. They understood that some things were more important than politics or personal safety. Sarah Torres spoke up from her tactical station. "Captain, I've been running calculations. If we're going to act, we need to do it now. Every minute we wait makes the task more difficult." Elena took a deep breath and made her decision. "All hands, this is the captain. In approximately 70 hours, an asteroid will impact the planet Kepler 438b, resulting in the extinction of the Zephyrian species. The Galactic Council has ordered us not to interfere, but I cannot stand by and watch 200 million innocent beings die when we have the power to save them." She paused, looking around at her crew. "I want to be clear about what this means. If we proceed, we will be violating galactic law. There will be consequences for all of us. Anyone who wishes to be transferred to an escape pod before we begin can do so without any judgment from me." The bridge remained silent. No one moved toward the exit. Alana felt a surge of pride in her people. "Very well," she said, her voice strong and clear. "Lieutenant Torres, plot a course for the asteroid. Commander Wright, prepare the crew for emergency operations. Dr. Chun, I want you to establish communication with the Zephyrians. Let them know that help is coming." As the Defiant changed course and accelerated toward the Kepler 438 system, Elena stood at the observation window, watching the stars streak past. She had made her choice, and there was no turning back now. Humanity was about to make a statement to the galaxy about what they stood for. The question was, would they succeed in time to save the Zephyrians? Or would they sacrifice everything for nothing? Breaking the silence racing against time, the Defiant pushed through space at maximum velocity, its engines straining against the laws of physics. Captain Elena Vasquez stood in the ship's engineering section, watching Chief Engineer Lisa Park work frantically at the main console. Lisa was a genius with starship technology, capable of making the impossible seem routine. "How long until we reach the asteroid?" Elena asked. "At current speed, 18 hours, Lisa replied, wiping sweat from her forehead. "But Captain, we're pushing the engines beyond their safe operating limits. If we keep this up much longer, we risk a complete system failure." Elena nodded grimly. They were in a race against time, and every second counted. The asteroid continued its relentless approach toward Kepler 438b, and with each passing hour, the task of deflecting it became more difficult. Dr. Marcus Chun appeared at Elena's side, his face pale with exhaustion. He had been working non-stop since they began their mission, analyzing every piece of data about the asteroid and the Zephyrian planet. "Captain, I've established communication with the Zephyrians," Marcus said, his voice heavy with emotion. "I've been speaking with their lead scientist, Dr. Kelter. They understand what's happening, and they're trying to evacuate as many people as possible to underground shelters." Elena felt her heart clench. How many can they save? "Maybe 10% of their population, if they're lucky," Marcus replied. "Their technology simply isn't advanced enough for a large-scale evacuation. They're a peaceful species, Captain. They've never had to face anything like this." Elena turned to Lieutenant Sarah Torres, who was running tactical simulations at her station. "Sarah, what's our best option for deflecting the asteroid?" Sarah looked up from her displays, her young face showing the strain of the situation. "I've run every scenario I can think of, Captain. Our best chance is to use our main particle beam to create a series of controlled explosions on the asteroid's surface. If we can change its trajectory by just a few degrees, it will miss the planet entirely. What are the risks? Elena asked. High, Sarah admitted. We'll need to get within 5,000 kilometers of the asteroid to have any chance of success. At that range, if our calculations are off by even a small amount, the debris from the explosions could destroy us. Commander James Wright joined the group, his expression serious. Captain, we're receiving multiple transmissions from Galactic Council enforcement ships. They're demanding that we withdraw immediately. Elena looked at the tactical display, which showed 3 Council ships approaching from different directions. Each vessel was larger and more heavily armed than the Defiant. If it came to a fight, they would be severely outgunned. How long until they reach us? Elena asked. The closest ship will intercept us in 6 hours, James replied. They're broadcasting warnings on all frequencies, threatening to use force if we don't comply with their orders. Elena felt the weight of command pressing down on her shoulders. Not only did they need to save the Zephyrians, but now they would have to fight their way through Council forces to do it. The odds were stacking against them, but giving up was not an option. The human spirit Elena called for a general assembly in the ship's main conference room. As her senior officers gathered around the table, she could see the determination in their faces. These people had signed up to serve humanity and protect innocent life, and they were prepared to face whatever came next. We all know the situation, Elena began. We have 6 hours before the Council ships reach us, and 12 hours before we need to begin our deflection operation. The odds are not in our favor, but that's never stopped humans before. Dr. Chun leaned forward. Captain, I've been thinking about this from a scientific perspective. The asteroid is composed primarily of iron and nickel, with trace amounts of other elements. If we can heat the surface to the right temperature, we might be able to create a controlled outgassing effect that will help push it off course. Lieutenant Torres nodded enthusiastically. That could work, sir. We could use our particle beam to create superheated plasma jets on the asteroid's surface. The expanding gases would act like rocket thrusters, pushing the asteroid in the direction we want. Chief Engineer Park looked skeptical. The power requirements would be enormous. We'd need to divert energy from life support, artificial gravity, and defensive systems. If the Council ships attack us while we're doing this, we'll be sitting ducks. Elena looked around the table at her officers. These were the best and brightest that humanity had to offer, and they were willing to risk everything for people they had never met. It was the human spirit at its finest, the same spirit that had driven humanity to the stars in the first place. Commander Wright, Alana said, I want you to prepare a message to be sent to Earth Command. If we don't make it out of this, I want them to know why we made this choice. James nodded solemnly. What should the message say? Elena thought for a moment. Tell them that we encountered a species facing extinction and had the power to save them. Tell them that we chose to do what was right, regardless of the consequences. Tell them that this is what humanity stands for. The Council's response is, the Defiant continued its approach to the asteroid. The Council enforcement ships closed in. The lead vessel, a massive dreadnought called the Hegemony, was commanded by Admiral Zortek, a militaristic alien who had little patience for what he saw as human insubordination. Human vessel, this is Admiral Zortek of the Galactic Council Enforcement Division, came the transmission. You are in violation of Resolution 2847. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Elena stepped forward to address the transmission. Admiral Zortek, we are conducting a humanitarian mission to prevent the extinction of an entire species. We have no hostile intent toward the Council or any of its members. Your intent is irrelevant, Zortek replied coldly. The law is clear. You will cease your activities immediately, or we will use force to stop you. Elena looked at her crew, seeing the same resolve in their eyes that she felt in her heart. Admiral, we cannot comply with that order. We will not stand by and watch 200 million innocent beings die when we have the power to save them. Then you have chosen your fate, Zortik said, ending the transmission. The tactical display showed the Council ships changing course, moving to intercept the Defiant before it could reach the asteroid. Elena knew that once the shooting started, there would be no turning back. Humanity would be at war with the Galactic Council, and the consequences would be felt for generations. Battle for Compassion ****. Lieutenant Torres worked frantically at her console, preparing the ship's defenses. Captain, the Council ships are charging their weapons. They'll be in firing range in 30 minutes. Elena made a decision that would echo through history. All hands, battle stations. We're going to fight our way through to that asteroid. The Defiant's crew moved with practiced efficiency, each person knowing their role in the coming battle. The ship's weapon systems came online, and defensive shields activated. It was a small vessel compared to the Council dreadnoughts, but it was crewed by humans who refused to give up. The first exchange of fire lit up the darkness of space. The Council ships opened up with their heavy particle cannons, sending streams of deadly energy toward the Defiant. Lieutenant Torres proved her worth as a tactical officer, using the ship's superior maneuverability to dodge the incoming fire while returning shots of her own. Direct hit on the lead dreadnought, Sarah reported. Their shields are holding, but we've damaged their port weapon array. Elena watched the battle unfold on the tactical display. The Defiant was faster and more agile than the Council ships, but it couldn't take many hits from their heavy weapons. They needed to end this quickly or risk being overwhelmed. Chief Park, can you give me more power to the engines? Elena asked. I can give you 5 minutes at maximum burn, Lisa replied. After that, we'll need to shut down for repairs. Elena nodded. 5 minutes would have to be enough. Sarah, plot a course directly through the enemy formation. We're going to punch through their lines and make a run for the asteroid. The Defiant accelerated to maximum speed, charging directly at the Council ships. It was a dangerous maneuver, but it was the only way to reach their target. The enemy vessels tried to adjust their formation to block the human ship, but they were too slow to react to the sudden change in tactics. The Defiant swept past the Council ships, taking several hits, but managing to avoid the worst of their firepower. Elena felt the ship shudder under the impact of enemy weapons, but they were through the blockade and racing toward the asteroid. The moment of truth, with the Council ships falling behind, Elena focused on the task ahead. The asteroid loomed large on the main screen, a massive chunk of rock and metal that would bring death to an entire world if they failed. Distance to target? Elena asked. 10,000 kilometers and closing, Sarah replied. Entering optimum. Firing range in 3 minutes. Dr. Chun was monitoring the asteroid's composition and trajectory. Captain, I've identified the best impact points. If we can create plasma jets at these locations, we should be able to push the asteroid off its collision course. Elena looked at the countdown timer on the main screen. They had one chance to get this right. If they failed, the Zephyrians would die, and humanity would face the wrath of the Galactic Council. All stations, prepare for deflection operation, Elena announced. Sarah, target the impact points Dr. Chun identified. Chief Park, divert all available power to the particle beam. The Defiant's main weapon charged up, drawing power from every system on the ship. The lights dimmed, and the artificial gravity fluctuated as energy was redirected to the particle beam array. Firing in 3 ... Fire the particle. Beam lanced out through space, striking the asteroid's surface with incredible force. The impact created a brilliant flash of light as rock and metal were superheated and transformed into plasma. The expanding gases created thrust, slowly but steadily pushing the asteroid off its collision course. "It's working," Dr. Chun shouted. "The asteroid's trajectory is changing." Elena felt a surge of hope, but it was short-lived. The tactical display showed the Council ships catching up, their weapons charging for another attack. "Captain, they're preparing to fire on us, Sarah." Warned. Elena made a quick decision. "Continue the deflection operation. We need every second we can get." The Council ships opened fire just as the Defiant completed its deflection operation. The human ship took several direct hits, its shields failing under the sustained assault. Explosions rocked the vessel, and emergency alarms sounded throughout the ship, but it was too late for the Council to stop them. The asteroid had been pushed off its collision course, and it would now pass safely by the Zephyrian homeworld. The aftermath, as the Defiant limped away from the battlefield, Elena received a transmission from the planet below. The image showed Dr. Kelter, the Zephyrian scientist, with tears streaming down his face. "Captain Vasquez," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "We felt the ground shake as the asteroid passed by our world. You have saved us all. We will never forget what you have done." Elena felt tears welling up in her own eyes. They had succeeded. 200 million lives had been saved, and an entire civilization would continue to exist. The consequences of their actions would be severe. The Galactic Council would impose sanctions on humanity, and Elena knew that she would likely face court-martial when they returned to Earth. But as she looked at her crew, she saw no regret in their faces. They had done the right thing, and that was what mattered. Commander Wright approached Elena with a communication from Earth Command. "Captain, Admiral Harrison wants to speak with you." Elena took the transmission, expecting to face the anger of her superiors. Instead, she found Admiral Harrison smiling. "Captain Vasquez, I've been monitoring your mission. What you've done today will be remembered as one of the finest moments in human history. You've shown the galaxy what humanity stands for, and I couldn't be more proud." Elena felt a wave of relief wash over her. "Thank you, sir. But what about the Council? What about the consequences?" Admiral Harrison's expression grew serious. "There will be consequences, Elena, but sometimes doing the right thing is more important than following the rules. Humanity has just announced to the galaxy that we will not stand idly by while innocents suffer. That's a message worth sending." As the Defiant began its journey home, Elena stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. The galaxy was a vast and often cold place, but today it was a little brighter because of what they had done. The Zephyrians would survive, and humanity had proven that compassion and courage could overcome even the most powerful forces in the universe. The silence had been broken, and the galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk.